Did you know there's a place in Peru that locals call Scotland?
Honestly, this place reminded me of my home, which is Scotland, the real Scotland. Actually, it was a major selling point.
Today, we meet Stuart from Glasgow, building his ecotourism dream and house high in the Andes, on land he bought for surprisingly little.
How much did this property cost you to buy?
The first time we came out here, there was nothing.
And how much have you already invested in what you're doing now?
We'll find out why he chose it, how the buying process works for foreigners, and reveal the price at the end.
Feels like the kind of place that it's just going to be perfect, you know.
So we're going to check out Stuart's property now. And hey, how's it going?
Great, my friend, great.
Stuart, tell us, where are we now?
We're in Escuchaca, in Anta, district of Anta in Peru. Also known as Escocia, or Scotland, the Scotland of this zone. That's how the locals refer to it.
You have a property here, right? Can you show us your property?
Yeah, sure, come along.
Here's Andy. Ninja! What are you doing here?
Well, we're going to build this. It's going to be a dome. Recently we put the roof on to protect from the elements.
Yeah.
This big hole over here is going to be like a wet area, sauna, hot tub, these sort of things, with a kind of mezzanine. And eventually, this is where I'm going to live.
So you're going to build a house over here?
In my plan to live here, yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to build a sauna. What else here? A steam room? Or no?
Yeah, so a steam room, a couple of hot tubs, jacuzzi type affair. Just an area, a wet area. So the idea is to put a platform on top of half of the hole and have a mezzanine. And then use this whole of this area as a living space. So literally, this is 20 meters long.
Yeah.
So it'll be like 1 story, 20 meters flat. And I think it's about 7 meters wide to the post, to this line here. So that's the intention.
And what's the purpose of building this type of wet area? What is your end goal?
Really, the climate here is like, right now is a little bit rain, but when it's hot, it's so hot. It's really beautifully hot. So the idea was that in the beginning, we think, well, with this kind of sun, if you can get down out of the rain, it's going to be hot. You know, there's a table of water about 14 meters down and 25 meters down. So we've basically got a whole load of water underneath us. And this water that you see in the hole now, that's actually filtering through. So, it gives you an idea of where the water actually is. And yeah, so it's just a nice place. I mean, this place reminded me of my home, which is Scotland, the real Scotland.
You're from Glasgow, right?
I was born in Glasgow, yeah, in 1978. It just reminded me so much of home. It's very quiet out here. It's just, look at it.
What's the elevation that we're at now?
We're at about 3,008, between 3,008 and 3,900 meters above sea level. So, we're quite high, even though you can see there's still mountains around us. And yeah, it's just, it really just makes me feel like I'm at home, always.
And tell me about the process on buying the property. Was that simple or is that a little bit complicated?
Extremely simple for me. I have a thing called a carnet de extranjería, which sounds like a stranger's card. And it's basically a residency card. And once you have that identification, you can literally go along to a notary of the public with the people that sell the land. They sign their bit, you sign their bit, you give your identification, you show some proof that you made the payments, and that's it. I received my deeds, like literally.
So you're saying basically when you have that residency card, things are pretty easy to buy?
Yeah, and even if you don't have a residency card, for example, you can give a trustee your power of attorney, and they can do that on your behalf. So you don't actually have to have residency here to own a property. You're entitled to own a property as a foreigner, but you have to have somebody that's legal resident in the country that actually does the tramite, I forget my English.
The paperwork.
Here so long.
Yeah, the paperwork.
The paperwork.
But
yeah.
So this land is in your name, right?
Yeah. Well, one of them is in my wife's name, and the other one's in my name. Yeah.
And your wife is also not Peruvian, right?
Split that. Yes. My wife is from South America. She traveled here from Venezuela.
From Venezuela. So you have 2 different properties and 2 different foreigners' names.
Exactly.
And you don't have to depend on a Peruvian for this property or anything.
Absolutely not.
Look at the weather, how it changed so quickly, right?
Yeah. And I told you, it'll be 10 minutes from now, we'll have the sun. And you wouldn't even remember that it had been raining.
You have this property in a very kind of luxurious, beautiful location. Can you mention what's around here?
So I don't know if you can see, but through the trees over that side, this is a really interesting site. You can find the site on Google Maps. It's called the Andenes of Surite. That's Andenes with a Andenes, and Surite is Surite. And this is massive terraces that were built by the Inca for them to do experiments with different growing methods. And now it's like a cultural center where they're sort of trying to rediscover some of these things and test, I don't know, some of the older technologies. In this valley that you can see on that side, that literally leads to Machu Picchu. If we were to throw a stone, Machu Picchu is about 18 kilometers. As the bird flies, it's not very far. It's literally just over that mountain is Machu Picchu and the jungle. As you can see, the snow-top mountain, that's the actual Sacred Valley, also very famous. You just look up Sacred Valley, that's basically Peru. It's like the main tourism route. From Cusco is that side, and all those distant mountains are the far end of that valley. And that goes all the way from Pisac, which is on the right-hand side, and goes all the way down to Ollantaytambo, which is on this side, behind this mountain here.
Quite a few snow-capped peaks over here, aren't there?
Yeah.
So when do you think you'll have your operation up and running here with your tent and your wet area?
We're on year 2 now. You're contending with the weather. So in about a month's time, we're going to lose the ability to work or to bring heavy machinery or any kind of supplies here because it will be really wet and it's soft, you know, the ground's quite soft. So we're contending with that, and we've been contending with that for a couple of years. But I imagine that probably we're going to see this place come into some sort of final this time by next year. We start again probably in February or March next year. We start to really push. I'm going to close some of this off before the end of this year, before the elements start to come in. And so we might do some of this stuff. That was the whole point of putting up a roof.
If you're enjoying this interview and you're interested in seeing more content like this, you can check out my playlist called the Expat Interview Playlist, where I have been interviewing people from Guatemala all the way down through Central America and now here in South America.
And how much have you already invested in what you're doing now?
Apart from the property costs, which is probably around $6,000, the roof is about $5,000. All this whole structure was about $5,000. This thing here was about $1,200. This less than $700 to build the frame. I think I just bought a lot of materials. I also bought that container, the trailer over there.
Yeah.
Because as you can imagine, there's nowhere here at the beginning, so we had to have somewhere to put some stuff.
There's a lot of petty crime in the countryside as well, right? People tend to like grab stuff when it's not properly taken care of.
There's a lot of poverty. You know, not far away from here, there's people that don't even have, like, they don't wear shoes and socks, you know. They still wear these old school sandals made of recycled tires. You know, there's a lot of poorness here. This place was basically split up in the 70s. And I think it was a mistake that the government made, but that's the way it went. They decided that nobody should own so much land. And so any leftovers from the conquest or whatever that had, you know, they called them the dueños here, it was taken away and given back to the people. And so they dug ditches everywhere and split all the land. But, you know, some people received land that didn't have any means to use that land or do anything. So they went back to farming.
It was a mistake because the people that got it didn't know how to use it?
I think it was a mistake because previous to that, this was a booming area. There was a lot of foreign technology. There was a lot of foreign imported animals and really good produce coming from the area. And that all kind of faded away from the 70s onwards to now. And even now, there's, you know, like I say, you see the poverty even if you go to the village. So with that surrounding you, something of little value to you, for example, this, you know, stuff that's just lying around, becomes valuable to somebody else if they can take it away. And so, yeah, you have to try and bear that in mind. It's not like criminal gangs that are out to, you know, take everything they can get. Maybe somebody thinking, if I take this, I can feed my family for a week, you know? So
right.
You really do have to think about it.
Once you have it up and running, are you going to give it a name?
We might call it Nova Scotia, just for a laugh. The people from Anta, they called this Escocia because the actual place is called Escuchaca. And so it sounds like Escocia. Urubamba, they call Uruguay. Waraconda, they call Waruchiri. So this is the local humor, you know? And so they call this Escocia. So we might call this New Scotland.
Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
Just like the Canadian province or whatever?
Yeah.
We got some work in progress here. You said in about maybe a year or so, you might have your stuff ready by end of August, September next year.
Yeah, I think so.
Nova Scotia up and running. Your kids are having a good time playing around in the area, right? Agui, ¿tienes un columpio ahí? Súbete, súbete en el columpio. Te gusta el columpio, ¿no?
Sí.
Sueles jugar en el columpio siempre cuando vienes, ¿no?
Actually, it was a major selling point. Major selling point. The first time we came out here, there was nothing. There was, I mean, this little building here, but there was zero. None of this stuff, none of that stuff. It was absolutely flat, and it was very green. It was just after the rainy season. And it was the first time in her life that my child went away from us, and she just went over somewhere and just was gone. I'm like, where's the baby? And she was just so happy, and she didn't pay any attention to us. And for her whole life, she'd been really, clinging onto the trousers and following. So I really thought, and the tree, it just feels like the kind of place that it's just going to be perfect,
Where's your daughter right now? Let's go.
Aggie, I got that.
So this kind of led to some kind of independence with your daughter, didn't it?
Yeah.
It brought the love for nature here.
She started to pick up spiders and butterflies and
Agata,
caterpillars and climb the tree and just really get in touch with the la naturaleza. As they call it
Agata,
here.
¿te gusta vivir aquí y jugar aquí?
¿Sí?
Sí, ¿no?
Sí.
Agata, ¿cuántos años tienes?
3.
¿10 años?
3.
3. 3 años. ¿Y te gusta jugar aquí en el Doma?
Be careful, baby.
What kind of people do you think will be visiting here once you have Nova Scotia ready?
Well, we're really going to probably try and attract people from my place. There's a very well-defined tourist route here. It kind of does Cusco and it does that Sacred Valley, but there's like handfuls and handfuls of other sites and other things that people just don't see because there's not a good road or the drivers don't want to go there. It's a little bit off the beaten track. So what I'm hoping is that I can attract people from my own circles, from tourists from my country, from Scotland, from England, from Europe, and show them slightly alternative version of tourism here. And potentially we're going to have animals here, and livestock, chickens, our own eggs and things. So that kind of, the kind of people that want to get off the beaten track, not the sort of package deal kind of tourism.
I've met expats, explored prices, walked the streets, and looked into safety. If you're serious about Peru, check out the full playlist to get real boots on the ground info.
How much did this property cost you to buy?
In dollars, about between 2,000 and 3,000 for each lot. This is 2 distinct lots, so you're actually standing in one now.
One lot was, you said, 9,000 soles?
So yeah, 9,000 soles, 10,000 soles, roughly.
And 10,000 soles for this one.
The one that you're looking at now was the cheaper because obviously we've got that shorter area.
Yeah, this one has because of the tree. Because of the tree, you have less space on this one. Okay. And you're going to be building your house as well here.
Yeah.
Do you plan on buying any more property?
Well, I actually own another piece of land over here, which I haven't developed yet. It's just got rocks on it at the moment. And yeah, I think what we're going to do with that is turn it into some sort of so aquaponics, with fish and lettuce and growing our own food, so we can be sort of self-sufficient. One of the products that we find around here that's really expensive, but it sells well, is smoked fish. And if you do the job well, you're talking about like 100 soles for a kilogram of fish. So with that kind of pricing and so many expatriates along that valley, if we can get the fish and sustainably grow them and smoke them, then we have a whole like maybe 100, 200 different shops and outlets where we can take it and resell it. So this could be literally what we're living on at some point in the future.
So that's going to be a fish farm, the other property you have?
Yeah, I think so.
Awesome.
Some sort of greenhousey type, where there's plants and fish. So
you're not going to be building a property there or anything?
I don't think so. It may be that we build another dome just in that property, just for maybe somebody that's managing, looking after working.
Right, a caretaker.
Somewhere to sleep.
Yeah. What did you pay for that price? For that
I think it was also just about 11,000 soles, so around $2,500.
That was the most expensive one then, huh?
Yeah, it was. Exactly.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing your story of buying this property. I'm going to walk around so everyone can get a little view of what you have going on, because you also have a friend that's sharing your lot over here as well that finished his dome already, right?
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and walk around.
Feel free.
Here is the finished dome from his buddy sharing the lot. Hello. And this is a space that cannot be utilized because it's public property, evidently, for a road. Evidently, is what he's saying. And here we have the dome almost finished with the structure. And here are the neighbors, who I believe were the owners of this property that he bought from in the first place. What do you think? Would you buy a property in Cusco for $2,000 or $3,000? A size like this? Build a business? Let me know in the comments. ¿Quién es? ¿Eres tú, no?
Sí,
¿Soy yo? ¿Eres tú?
sí,
¿Sí?
sí.
¿Cuál es tu nombre?
Mi nombre es Agui.
Agui. Agui, ¿puedes correr muy rápido? Anda. Chócala, chócala.